Hey, it's Jared with State of Tech. We're going to talk about some things that I find wrong with the iPhone that I really think that they need to fix to make this just a more enjoyable platform. Now, I'm talking about these things because you guys are my community. I don't have as many friends to talk technology with as I used to now that I live in Montana. My network is smaller, and of course, the amount of people that are interested in technology is smaller as well. And so I like having these conversations because I feel like there are some of you that are in agreement with some of the things that I find useful or problematic in different areas of tech. And then it's also good just to have these conversations and talk about these things. Whether we agree or not doesn't necessarily matter. It's that we're talking about the things that we enjoy, which is the technology that we use every day. So while this video is titled 5 Things That Are Wrong with the iPhone, or that the iPhone is getting wrong, there are things that I think Apple continues to put a little bit of attention towards, but they do seem to be losing a little bit of ground to Android. And so that's the topic of this video. And we're going to start by talking about notifications. Notifications is the first thing. Now, it was great when Apple brought notifications and made them kind of stack together, and it made it, they've been working at trying to make it less of a pain point. But for me, I often just turn most notifications off on the iPhone because they're just not very useful. They stack up, they're hard to manage, they take multiple taps to do anything with, and the intended result when I tap on one of them isn't always what I expected. And so I just prefer to turn them off or limit the amount of notifications that I have only to the most important apps that I need them, because they are annoying. It's easier just to clear all and move on with my day than it is to actually make notifications useful. And so it's unfortunate because there are a lot of apps that I interact with and I want notifications from those apps. But the way that notifications are displayed is kind of messy, and it's hard to manage, especially if you step away from your device for any period of time and end up with a good amount of them in different stacks. So I think that Apple really needs to rethink notifications. I don't necessarily think that Android has notifications perfect either, but I think that there's a better way to structure notifications so that they're not just such a mess. And on top of that, that when you have a bunch of them, they're not so anxiety inducing as well. A lot of notifications can definitely do that, make you just feel anxious, like you have a lot of things that you need to get to. And I feel like there's a better way to organize them and a more healthy way to display them so that it doesn't trigger us and make us feel like we need to attack everything that is popping up on our display and give it some attention, because these smart devices are supposed to help us get more done, not become a bigger distraction. And it's very easy that they can become a bigger distraction, and I don't think notifications has helped us out too much. Customization is a huge one, and this is one that people have talked about for ages with the iPhone. But I think as Apple has started to do things like reintroduce widgets and do some different things, they really just need to give some customizational control to the users. I would rather have nothing on my screen, and like if we look at my screen right now, I don't have a whole lot on my screen. I have a widget, I have some icons down at the bottom, and I want as little as possible on my screen, mainly because there isn't any good way for me to manage icons. On an Android, I can put my icons anywhere that I want, and on an iPhone, everything is going to be from top down. So you have to have things from the top. If you want things down towards the bottom row, you have to fill in every single row to get them down there. And it is really frustrating. Yes, there are little hacks and ways that you can get around this, but I don't like those because they often break, or when I'm using my phone in a different orientation, something doesn't display properly, and it's just not the best overall experience. So the widgets are nice, and I think Apple I think their widgets are nice and clean, and the experience is consistent with the widgets, which is something that sometimes breaks on Android devices and gets better if you use a custom launcher. But gosh, it sure would be good if we could do something like that on an iOS device. The amount of people that would purchase that software would be insane. And I don't know if Apple is holding out to implement this more into the software later on down the road or what, but it is what it is. The apps library is also just useless. I mean, if I want to get to my apps, I either have to have them all on my display so that I can get to them maybe in folders, which is kind of the old school way of doing it, having folders and everything on your home display so you can get to them quickly. But I have to swipe over and I get folders that I can't customize. I mean, come on. These folders, I have apps that are in folders that don't even make sense. I have apps that I'm discovering are in a folder, and I don't understand why they're in that folder. Maybe it's an app that's in a finance folder. Why is it in that folder? I have no idea. But then it takes another action of swiping to get to the list of apps that's alphabetical. And of course, I get my keyboard and I can type in an app or I can swipe or whatnot. I don't even do that at all. My process for getting to apps is swiping down and typing something into the Siri search so that I can get to my app. And the problem with that is that not every app is top of mind, the name of the app. Like, not every app that I have installed, I can remember the name. I'm even thinking about those apps. Sometimes you have to see the app icon in order for you to remember, oh yeah, I have that on my phone, and that, oh yeah, I tried editing a photo in that app once and it was good, and so I downloaded the app or whatever and it's on my phone. I may never see that app again and completely forget about it altogether because it's just a pain in the butt to get to those apps. So many things just to get to an app. And it's not a very nice process. I think Apple has further neutered their phones by doing that. And for me, I would rather have less apps that's easier for me to remember what's on my device, easy for me to get around my device because there are less apps, than be forced into these folders that don't necessarily make sense. Some of those folders need to be broken up into 2 folders, or maybe even with subcategories, just so that it's easier for me to get to my apps. So that's it on that. Custom launchers would be nice because we can customize the look and feel of our phone, maybe even the way that apps are displayed when we're looking at our app library, or folders of apps would be great if we can customize those. Apple has given us a little bit of that functionality, but they haven't made it extremely useful. So I digress from that topic, and you can tell that that's one that I am emotionally attached to. So the third thing is the Lightning port. Yes, the Lightning port has been around forever, but the iPhone is one of the only devices that still has a Lightning port. The only other devices that I have that have Lightning ports is the keyboard and trackpad on my MacBook that I use with my MacBook Pro. My iPads are all USB Type-C, and I've heard people say, well, it's because the M1 chip is what works with USB-C. Well, then answer me why I was looking around for my iPad mini, but it's too far to reach. The iPad mini 6 that came out this year is USB-C. It is not an M1 chip. So the iPhone has the same chip as that device. It could be USB-C. So why are we still using Lightning? I don't know, especially when so many other devices have moved away from it. It means that I have to carry an extra cable or an extra wireless charger for my iPhone when I could just carry one USB-C. USB-C is the standard now pretty much across the board. Let's get away from the Lightning port because all of my devices are utilizing it, and I know it is not a technology that's in the iPhone issue. It's simply Apple saying we're not ready yet to get rid of the Lightning port, and I say get rid of it. It's time to go. The fingerprint scanner is something that I miss. While I will say that Face ID or Face Lock unlock on the iPhone is great, it's fast, it's accurate, and it gets the job done, there are many instances where I wish that I had another way to unlock my device. When on the new iPad mini, when they added the fingerprint unlock, I love it. I love having a fingerprint unlock on the iPad. And of course, there's no Face ID on the iPad, which is a bummer, but the fingerprint unlock is absolutely fantastic. And I love having the fingerprint unlock because there are a lot of times when you are utilizing your device and a fingerprint unlock is what's going to work a lot easier. On my iPad Pro, which is what I have sitting in front of me, No fingerprint unlock. A lot of times the iPad Pro is not orientated correctly to unlock via my face, and so I end up having to type in my code because Face ID timed out, and then it brought up the keypad, and now I have to type in the password or whatever, and it's still not a perfect solution being Face ID unlock only. And with the iPhone, I feel like we need some sort of a fingerprint scanner, whether it be on the home button on the side of the phone, or it be an in-screen fingerprint unlock like on some of the Android phones that are coming out now, or something like that. There needs to be some sort of a fingerprint unlock still. I like having that. I don't like positioning my face just right so that I can unlock my phone, especially when I'm, laying in bed and wanting to use my phone a little bit before I go to bed, or are even in public or something like that, and it's just easier to unlock via a fingerprint. So while that's something that's probably not going to change, I don't imagine Apple bringing back the fingerprint scanner on an iPhone unless they do it in the form of an in-screen technology. I do miss it, and it's something that I wish that we still had both of, like on a lot of Android devices. Number 5 is just the overall excitement of the device. Apple's devices are not that exciting. Really, the first thing that I was able to get very excited about in a while was the new Mac Mini Studio, or the new Mac Studio, which is like a thick Mac Mini, because of the amount of performance in something so small. That was pretty exciting what they achieved there with that device. But the iPhone just has not been exciting. An iPhone is an iPhone, and the only exciting thing about having the latest iPhone is having the latest iPhone. There isn't much excitement left in the device. For years, Apple has tried to wow us with little gimmicky features like cinematic mode, which is something I never use because it doesn't film in the right format that I want as far as frame rates and all that stuff. I want the ability to make my phone my own, and Apple doesn't give us anything really new there other than just gimmicky features that, yes, are neat in their own way, but are not milestone features that really just make something new and exciting. I'll be completely honest, if it wasn't for Apple's connected ecosystem with being able to make and receive calls and text message from any of my Apple devices, that is really the only thing holding me in the Apple ecosystem and not going over to an Android phone, is all of that tight-knit ecosystem where everything just works well together. I will give Apple that. They have done a great job maintaining that and making sure that that is a great experience. But as far as the excitement of their devices, that's kind of gone. So maybe Apple will wow us with later this year with iOS 16, or maybe even an iPhone 14. Maybe we will have something new or exciting, or maybe we'll have to wait until the iPhone 15, or maybe even all the way until iOS 20. I don't know, but right now I just don't feel too excited about the iPhone. What keeps me connected to the iPhone is the fact that most of my family has iOS type devices, and I like the ability to be able to text and do all of that from whichever device I'm connected to. What do you think? What is it about the iPhone that Apple is not getting right these days? What part of the experience does seem broken to you? I'd love to talk about that down in the comment section. That's why I like making these videos, is really just having that conversation with all of you, hearing what your thoughts are, because that adds to my experience as well, helps broaden my horizon and see things that maybe I didn't think to look for in these different devices. So I appreciate the conversation going both ways, even though this video is currently just going one way. Now down in the comment section, let's talk about it. And thanks so much for making it this far in the video. I really appreciate it. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't, and give this video a thumbs up if you like this kind of topical conversation style video where we get to dive into things that we like and dislike about technology together. Thanks again, and I hope to see you back in another video soon. Take care.